You walk around and you don't always think about the machines working behind the scenes, do you? Like that robotic arm building a car, or even just the smart speaker in your living room.
They blend in.
Exactly. But what if the real story isn't just about them being efficient, but about them learning to work with us, with all our, well, unpredictability?
It's a fascinating angle.
Mm,
It opens up so much more potential.
right. So today we're doing a deep dive into robotics and automation. The mission, as always, is to cut through all the jargon and get you the essential stuff, the key insights from what we've looked at,
Yeah, help you get up to speed quickly.
and maybe uncover some surprising things along the way. We'll cover the basics, the cutting-edge tech, future possibilities, and we'll put a special spotlight on what's happening in India.
It's a field that's really less about replacement, I think, and more about augmenting what humans can do,
Mm.
enhancing our capabilities sometimes in ways we're only just starting to figure out.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how these different ideas, robotics, automation, AI, they all sort of weave together.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start unpacking that. When we say robotics, what are we really talking about today? Beyond, the Hollywood image or just factory arms.
Right. Well, at its heart, robotics is really about the whole process.
Yeah.
Designing, building, operating, and using these machines, robots, to do tasks.
Okay.
Often tasks that are maybe dangerous for humans or need incredible precision or just need doing faster. It's this really cool mix of mechanical engineering for the body,
Right.
electronics for the controls, computer science for the brains, the programming,
And software.
and software, absolutely, for the intelligence. People have dreamt of automated machines for centuries, but the modern industrial robot thing really kicked off in the 1960s. Simple programmable arms.
Right.
But today, we're way beyond that.
Right.
We're talking machines that learn, that adapt to messy, changing environments, even interact with people pretty naturally.
So that leap from just repeating a task to actually adapting, that's key.
It is, and it's changing everything, making things safer, faster, and honestly enabling stuff we couldn't do before, like self-driving cars or super complex surgeries.
Okay, so that's robotics. How does automation fit in? Does it just broaden that scope? Where did automation really take root first?
Good question. Automation is basically using tech to get tasks done
Hmm.
with ideally minimal human input. It really got its big start in factories, assembly lines, packaging.
Repetitive stuff.
Exactly. Stuff that's dull, maybe dangerous, or needs consistent speed. It brought huge gains in efficiency, cut costs, and definitely improved worker safety in manufacturing.
But it's not just stuck in huge factories anymore, is it? I mean, I set my coffee maker the night before. That's automation, technically.
Precisely. It's woven into our daily lives now. ATMs, washing machines, smart home apps. In India specifically, you see it making big strides in agriculture. Think smart irrigation, crop monitoring, also in banking, and even smart cookers in kitchens.
Right.
Now, people always ask, what about jobs? And it's a fair concern. But the bigger picture suggests it's less about eliminating jobs and more about changing them.
Shifting the skills needed.
Exactly. It creates new roles. Designing these systems, maintaining them, analyzing the data they produce, figuring out how humans and robots can best work together. It forces us to adapt, learn new skills.
So it's about rethinking our roles, too, which brings us to this other term, mechatronics. I've heard it, but what exactly is it? Sounds important.
It really is. Mechatronics is where it gets really interesting. Is this blend, this integration of mechanical engineering, electronics, computer science, and control engineering.
Okay.
Think of it as the core architecture inside modern smart machines. It's how you make a mechanical system smart and efficient using electronics and software control.
So is it the same as robotics?
Not quite. Here's the key. All robots use mechatronics, but not all mechatronic systems are robots. Think of an automatic door sensors, motor, controller that's mechatronics, but it's not a robot.
Uh,
The very first industrial robot, Unimate, back in the day, that was a brilliant piece of mechatronics designed for those tough factory jobs.
right.
Today's robots, like Honda's Asimo or Sophia from Hanson Robotics,
Hmm.
are incredibly sophisticated mechatronic systems.
Right.
And you see mechatronics everywhere, automatic braking in your car, drone stability systems, smart home devices. It's fundamental.
That really clarifies things. So mechatronics gives us the smart physical system, but how do you make it truly intelligent? How do you give it that ability to, well, think?
Yeah, that's the next layer.
Yeah.
And that's where AI, artificial intelligence and machine learning, or ML, really step in. AI is like the robot's brain.
Hmm.
It helps it perceive the world around it, understand sensor data, make decisions, even predict what might happen next.
In machine learning.
ML is a part of AI. It's what allows these systems to learn from data. They analyze patterns, figure out what works and what doesn't, and get better over time, sort of like we learn through practice, using things like reinforcement learning.
And we're seeing this make a real difference in the real world, right? Like in manufacturing.
Oh, absolutely. In manufacturing, you've got AI-powered robots doing incredibly detailed quality checks, spotting tiny flaws humans might miss. They're doing complex assembly tasks with amazing precision.
Healthcare too, I imagine.
Definitely. Assisting surgeons in tricky operations, helping patients with rehab exercises, even just monitoring vital signs. Warehouses are another huge area. AI robots, sorting packages, managing inventory, getting orders out faster.
Okay.
Even agriculture, with drones using AI for crop health analysis or targeted pest control. And of course, autonomous vehicles are constantly learning and improving.
And they're getting better at understanding us too.
Yes, natural language processing is a big part of that, making human-robot communication feel more, well, natural. Looking ahead, we'll see even more cobots, collaborative robots working right alongside people, learning new tasks quickly, adapting.
That adaptability, learning on the job, that feels like the real game changer. Now, speaking of the future, India seems to be a really hot spot for robotics right now. What's the scene like there?
It's absolutely booming. The market size is already significant, around what, $1.7 billion in 2024, and projections show it potentially hitting nearly $7 billion by 2033.
Wow.
That growth is really driven by demand from manufacturing, especially automotive and electronics, but also healthcare and education are catching on fast. Companies are really looking to boost efficiency and compete globally.
And it's not just the huge corporations, right? You mentioned cobots earlier. Are they making it easier for smaller companies in India too?
Yes, definitely. The rise of cobots is a big deal because they're safer, easier to integrate, and more affordable. So smaller factories, SMEs, can start automating without massive investment or completely redesigning their floor space.
That democratizes it a bit.
It does. Plus, you've got government initiatives like the Production Linked Incentive, or PLI, scheme pushing domestic manufacturing and robotics investment. And there's a real focus on building up robotics education and training, creating that skilled workforce needed.
So the talent pool is growing alongside the industry.
Exactly. And that's fueling a really vibrant startup scene alongside the established players.
Yeah.
You've got companies like Adverb Technologies doing amazing things in warehouse automation, backed by big names like Reliance.
And Gray Orange, I've heard of them. They do warehouse robots too.
Yeah, AI-driven ones, used by huge retailers like Flipkart and Walmart. And you can't forget Tail Manufacturing Solutions, part of Tata Group. They actually developed India's first industrial robot. Real pioneers.
That's quite a legacy. But the startups are pushing boundaries too, aren't they? I saw mentions of peer robotics focusing on cobots for smaller factories, which ties back to what you said about accessibility.
Right, and Unbox Robotics with clever package sorting bots. Peppermint Robotics doing smart cleaning bots for commercial spaces. Then there's Sastra Robotics in Kochi, building highly precise testing robots for automotive, aerospace, critical stuff.
And Sinohine, grasping different objects, sounds simple, but I bet it's really complex.
It's a huge challenge in robotics. So, yeah, Sinlar working on robotic arms that can handle varied objects intelligently is really significant. It's this great mix of established know-how and fresh, disruptive ideas.
It's fascinating how it's not just industrial anymore. How is robotics actually showing up in everyday life in India, becoming the new normal, as one source put it?
Well, it's often subtle. In homes, you're starting to see more AI-powered helper robots. Not just vacuum cleaners, but ones that might help with chores, remind elderly relatives about medicine, maybe even chat in multiple languages like Hindi, Tamil, or Marathi.
Using sensors and vision.
Exactly. Smart sensors, computer vision to navigate, avoid obstacles, maybe carry small things. My own robot vacuum cleaner once got hilariously tangled in charging cables, so
Yeah, real-world chaos is still a challenge.
it is. But they're learning fast. And beyond the home, in factories and warehouses, robots mean better quality control, faster movement of goods. You might even see retail robots helping you find things or managing stock.
And India's specific needs are shaping this.
Absolutely. Yeah. The diversity of languages, the density of cities, the push for affordable solutions, all these factors are driving the development of robots that are genuinely useful and accessible for India.
Okay, so looking ahead then, what are the big trends we should watch for in 2025, both in India and maybe globally?
Well, the biggest trend, no surprise, is still AI's growing influence. Robots in 2025 won't just follow instructions. They'll learn, adapt to surprises, make smart decisions in real time thanks to better AI and ML.
Safer, smarter, more autonomous.
Precisely. And we'll definitely see cobots become even easier to use and safer, making them practical for almost any business. Humanoid robots, that's another one to watch. They're slowly moving out of labs into actual jobs like customer service or helping in logistics as they get more dexterous and better at navigating.
Sustainability is a factor too.
Huge factor. Designing robots that use less energy help reduce waste that's becoming critical for companies meeting green goals. And specifically for India, expect more local innovation, more specialized trade shows, and definitely more startups making robotics accessible.
With all this growth, people must be wondering about careers. How does someone...
Think of it like a standard toolkit or operating system for robots. It provides libraries and tools that help developers build robot software faster, making it easier for different components and systems to work together. It sort of standardizes how robots talk internally.
So actually building things using tools like ROS is more important than just theory?
Oh, definitely. Real-world projects, university labs, personal projects, internships, that's what employers look for. India's got this buzzing startup scene and established companies all hungry for people with practical skills.
Any areas to specialize in?
Yeah, focusing on high-demand areas gives you an edge. Think AI and machine learning for robotics. Surgical robotics is growing. Swarm robotics. And honestly, the most important thing, never stop learning. Courses, certifications, networking, this field moves incredibly fast.
Wow, okay. So wrapping this all up, what's the big takeaway? We've gone from the basics of robotics and automation through mechatronics, the role of AI, looked at the amazing growth in India, and even how it touches our daily lives and careers.
Yeah, if you connect all those dots, the main theme isn't just about more robots appearing physically. The real shift is how they empower us.
Right.
Taking over tedious tasks, making dangerous jobs safer, creating whole new areas of work, understanding this field, knowing how to apply it. That's where the real value lies, I think.
Well, thank you for walking us through all that. It's been a really fascinating deep dive.
My pleasure. It leaves us with a pretty big question, though, doesn't it? As these robots get smarter, more integrated, more capable, how do we adapt? How does our uniquely human creativity, our problem solving, evolve to not just work with these machines, but to actually guide them towards an even more innovative future? Something to think about.